Let me pull up my phone. I'm shaking.
Where are you streaming it on?
YouTube. Here, I'll link you the stream
Ooh.
in
Yeah,
case you
sure.
wanna tune in and see how you sound on stream. Yeah.
I'm sure you can figure it out.
Don't go on the sky. Copy. There you go. This is sick. So, welcome everybody to a sit-down chat slash Q&A section of a stream that has been in the making for, I think, what was the last time we did it? Was like mid last year, I think.
Probably. I don't remember. It's been a while ago.
I know. So I am very excited. And
Well, I'm glad to be of use.
yeah. So let me introduce the man of the hour. Myst. He is a incredibly popular YouTuber who plays a lot of, well, he's mostly known for Fate Grand Order, but he does a lot of he streams on Twitch and he plays other games. Like one notably one that I remember watching you stream was, I think, Yakuza, I believe it was.
Oh yeah, that's definitely been in my stream.
How's that? This is way too loud. How have you liked it? I'm streaming Yakuza myself. I'm doing a whole playthrough of the entire series. Right now I'm on the third one.
Well, I'm going kind of slowly through it, but yeah, it's a cool game and the
Yeah,
series.
I'm excited to watch the rest of it. There's a creeper. Oh my god. But yeah, so I have had a bunch of questions brewing in my mind that I've been meaning to ask you, and now that I have the opportunity, I will do so. So, Myst,
Yep.
there's this, like, I don't know if it's a big rumor in the FGO community, but me and my friend were discussing it, how I think one of the developers or people who make FGO said that to stock up on a lot of the bond craft essences, and he was saying how people think that that might mean we can only use bonded 10 plus servants.
I don't think it's gonna be like restricted or anything like that. I think if you remember how Solomon worked at the end of part one story, I think it's gonna be similar to that, if anything, if not like the same system, where you know, bonded servants, the higher you were, the more damage bonus you got, basically, which was very helpful against Getia, basically. I think it's gonna be something like that again, instead of like, you know, not even allowing you to use your servants if they're not high enough bond. That feels a bit too like severe, maybe.
You know, I haven't even thought of that. I must just not be an FGO gamer like you guys. I do like the game. I recently, I kind of fucked up because I got a phone today, a new one, and I had to just sit through the entire first part of it because I couldn't figure out how to transfer my data from my old phone to my new one. I eventually figured it out, but I was like super salty about that. Oh shit.
Oh, yeah. Did you have to like email the support or whatever?
Yeah, had to do everything. The part wasn't even the worst part of it. The worst part of it was just sitting through the entire like forced tutorial because I couldn't access my settings. I was like, my gosh. But it was cool though. I was hoping that it would keep the stuff it gave me, like with the starter bag kits that they would give you, like the 5 summon tickets and stuff. Oh my god, get away from me. But yeah, that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
kind of whack. Oh my gosh, stop. Sorry. Um,
Yeah, I see your stream at the same time.
yeah, I didn't want to just be like me, like sitting here with like a Windows desktop background. I wanted to make it like something like cool to watch in the background. I probably shouldn't be playing survival. I should be like doing something chill and creative. So, regarding FGO, other than Abigail, what other like weaker servants would you give an upgrade, and how would you go by, how would you buff that said servant?
Well, there's certainly a lot of servants that could still use buffs for
Any
like all the rarities, for sure.
yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, one 5-star that very recently came to mind as well, because of another similar release, who is definitely just a better version of the servant, would be Bradamante, for instance, on the 5 stars. I still think she's one of the weakest SSRs in the whole game. She has never seen a single buff, and even on launch, back when Quick Scotty farming meta was like at its peak before Castoria was released, even then she was kind of mediocre at best.
True.
So that's never a good sign. And now that we have access to Castoria stuff, Buster stuff, it's like it looks even worse for her, honestly.
You know, back then when I first started and I got Scotty, I was like, oh my god, finally I can farm with Bradamante. It's gonna be great. Only to get disappointed in my shots ruined because of how kind of whack she is. But I still like her as a servant. And my friend always gets upset because he's like, you don't roll for servants you like, you only go for meta. I'm not denying it, but
Yeah,
you can't ignore the fact that some servants are just born weak.
yeah, for sure. Nowadays it's a bit better because there's a lot of strong releases all the time, but sometimes there's a bit, not so crazy ones. It used to be like they just flat out released pretty like not even average, but kind of like way below the average, even for old standards.
You lived through these. Let me try that again. You lived through those days where like a new release was kind of like, well, this is kind of like boring and whack.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish I was, I wish I was more a part of the older FGO. What's something that like you kind of miss about old FGO community, if there is anything?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, sure, there's good memories and whatnot, but I'm not saying they happened because the game was old and janky,
Yeah,
or rather than just because it just happened to happen around that time. I think the game is definitely improved a lot, both quality of life and the community side. It's not a massive community by any means, especially on the English side,
yeah.
but I think we have a nice thing going on,
I think
growing ever so slowly.
so when I first started out, I always thought that the FGO community was really wholesome because of the way they would like talk to each other and help each other out with like, oh, you can't beat this boss, so try this, or here's my thing, like my number, you can use my supports and stuff like that. I always found it to be incredibly wholesome, which is weird for a gotcha game. Not to point any fingers, Genshin Impact, but like I don't know, it's like a community I've never experienced before. I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna get flamed because I don't know what I'm doing or who to pick. But no, everybody was like, here, I got you. And it really helped out watching bigger creators like you, GNA reviews, and all of those. What else can I mention? I don't know. Shout out Pushy, by the way. Um,
Yeah, always.
it's like it's a great thing that the FGO community is, especially with all the horny degenerate weebs out there. Shout out Fernando. He's another person that I have a regular on the channel, and he's the one who got me introduced to FGO. And even before I even touched my first SR, he was always complaining to me about the great reset, I think he called it. Those were some dark days. That was back in I think 2018. And I always found that game like quite confusing. And now that I'm in it, my friend who does like more like RPGs always tries to compare them to Fate, like mechanically system. And I'm like, I have no clue, man. You have to ask him about that. I just kind of like go double Castoria and John Archer and hope for the best. All right. Another question I have for you is there's a lot of lineups in FGO. What would you say is like your favorite team comp if there is any?
Hmm. Well, I usually the ones I like the most are the ones where I just run my grilled servants, and I have a good mix of like I'm not saying I did it because of the roles or anything, but I have a good mix of like supports, DPS servants grilled. So most of the time I should be able to run my favorites in the front line, even if it's not maybe the best comp out there. It works because at the end of the day, I don't think FGO is it's not a particularly hard game most of the time, so you can run stuff like that, which I really like.
True, it's very true. One thing that's been pissing me off recently in FGO has been the this new event. Is it like an event or is it like a whole new like campaign chapter in between the Lost Belt?
Oh, you mean the release for 5.5?
Yeah.
Hey Yankyo?
Yes.
Um, it is obviously main story, but it's like a minor one, I suppose, in terms of that. I think it will be a requirement for Last Build 6, but I think even in JP they changed it later that it's no longer a requirement to do Last Build 6.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's definitely advisable though because, it tackles some of the main story. So, it's
Yeah,
better to be up to date if you're gonna read that stuff.
it's true. It's very true. Dude, what's that new SSR servant's name? It's like really like long. She's purple, white hair, I think.
You mean from 5.5?
Yeah,
Are you thinking of Ibuki or Domon?
I think Ibuki.
You mean, yeah, the Oni. Or
Yeah,
basically people also call her grown up Shuten as well.
yeah. Her fight was dreadful.
There is an easy way to do it if you bring invul peers, but if you don't, then yeah, it's very tedious.
That was the thing. I brought Archer Orion, Super Orion. I was having the hardest time of my life because I was getting shafted with the RNG.
I think it might be a bit easier with him because he at least has an invul pierce for 3 turns on his MP, so
Yeah,
that at least helps. But yeah, besides that,
it was like, man, I don't know how I'm ever gonna do it. I was like so determined to not use the save scum and use my command seals. And even when I did, I just like still lost because I wasn't getting the greatest of RNG. It could just be that I'm bad, but I was like, man, I just gave up and was like, fuck it. I'm gonna use as many Saints Courts as I need to complete this stupid thing. I ended up getting it, but I was like, but at what cost?
yeah, I can see that.
What would you say would be your most difficult challenge in FGO as a seasoned veteran?
Well, overall, it has to be some kind of a challenge quest from an event because usually the main story battles tend to not be on the hardest side. There will be one in Last Build 6. Not gonna go into details, but it's a pretty infamous one.
Yeah.
That will be basically the hardest fight of all stories so far. But besides that, I think it would have to be a challenge quest. And usually when I think of the hardest stuff, like Guildfest exhibition quests come to mind. Some of those are definitely very tedious. And it doesn't help that that event has a lot of them as well. So if you want to beat them all, then yeah, good luck with that.
Oh yeah.
Either you need a lot of time or just a lot of patience, like or get good RNG, good servants. Can be very difficult.
Even like like me, because I have a lot of I pull a lot of the good SSRs, you could say, and I was having a rough time. Then I was probably like not as good, you could say, because I understand the game more now than I did then, but I could still see like the challenge that it could bring. So
Oh yeah, and they now that they're doing well, we're getting Lost Belt 7 soon on JP. They were doing on these Road to Lost Belt 7 campaigns this year with like they go from Last Belt 1 to Last Belt 6, and with those celebrations or like recollections, whatever you want to call it, we had those super memorial quests, which were like beefed up versions of some of the more memorable boss fights from the Last Belt story. So they had the normal versions, but then they also had the super versions that basically had like 10 times more HP or something like that always. So
damn,
some of those were actually very, very difficult too.
man, wow. I can't wait till get more into the end of the games. I'm especially excited for next year. Are there any big banners you're gonna roll for next year? Like any ones you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah, next year has a lot of stuff.
Excited for
My number one would be Summer Saber Okita Altar, because I'm still a big Okita simp, so
Mhm.
that's my most anticipated future servants. But there's a lot of other good stuff. I mean, we have Koyan Light and Oberon coming in like back to back to completely enable the Buster farming meta. It's like kind of crazy. Not to mention Oberon and Koyan are both like some of my favorites as well, and just character wise as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess Muramasa counts for next year as well, because we usually that's how we count New Year's servants. So he's gonna be like there at the start. I think most of the part for most of it, the first half of next year is kind of chill. Like not many new servants, and even among the new servants, there's not that many ones people are crazy about. But the second half is gonna be the real brutal one for sure.
Can't wait to see the Oberon quest once again. How long did it
Yeah, at
take?
least we got
Like,
the pity system early.
oh yeah, that's true. It took you like about like a week or so to get that guy.
Yeah, a weekend, many attempts.
I couldn't imagine. I was like, every time I would like buy quartz on FGO, I felt so dirty because it's like, ugh, I don't want to. I don't want to like become like make this a habit. And then I got like a lot of money, and I'm not gonna mention it, but it was pretty bad. Like even kidding. That is definitely the hell
Oh,
that I
did you have
went
like a
into.
gotcha disaster of your own? Is that what you're
Oh
saying?
yes, a big one. I think I was rolling for. I don't remember. Can't remember. It was last year. Who came out last year? I don't remember. You know what? Actually, I remembered it. It's pretty embarrassing. I was rolling for story servants. It was for Quetz and Osakabe, and I got completely screwed.
Yeah, rolling with our write up is like pretty impossible.
Was determined. Those are some dark days. Well, that's fine though. I got them anyways, so I was pretty happy. It was like that Wario meme where it was like, I've won, but at what cost?
Yeah, that's very relatable to gotcha stuff.
So, regarding the JP side of FGO, where do you think the story will go after the Lost Belts? Do you think it's just gonna be like a whole new story, or do you think it's gonna be just events after events?
Well, I guess that is the big question on a lot of people's minds now that the LB7 is coming soon. I think there will be some new story. Call it a part three, call it whatever you want, but I think there will be something for sure. Because I think in the past, Kano, the current director for the second part of the game, Mr. Nissan,
Mm-hmm.
he has stated that he wants FGO to go at least 10 years. So we're not even close to that yet. So
Oh,
there's definitely going to be some. They can't run events for that long only. I'm
true.
sure they're going to work something out. Nasu has obviously stated that he is going to be kind of done with FGO after the second part concludes. So, he might not be around, but he has changed his mind a lot in the past about other stuff as well. So you never know. I wouldn't really take it as like a final word just because he has said that once. You never know. He might change his mind again.
Of course. I'm excited to see where it goes. And as an NA, I always like to keep up with the JP side of things because it gets me like, oh, I can just save for this guy. Like right now, I'm saving for Muramasa. I cannot wait for Muramasa, and I hope that I don't have to go through pity to get him. Is he gonna be New Year's, or is he gonna be like New Year's? I mean January, or is he gonna be like December?
It's gonna be exactly like New Year's Day. So it's as soon as like January 1 starts,
Oh
his
shit!
banner with the GSSRs will drop. It's always like kind of like that.
I cannot wait. I'm super excited for that guy. I'm just excited to have an
Yeah, a
archer
lot of
that can
people
do
are for sure.
things. Because we have like well, we can farm with the archer and this rider, but we don't really have a saber. I think that I've been doing research, and the only good farming saber was like Jason, right?
Yeah, I suppose I'm currently on an A. There's not that many options because we can't even do the buster farming yet. So stuff like Saber herself can't really do it too well yet. And then Altera also needs the buster supports and the one buff she's missing to get the battery as well, etc. So on NA, yeah, there's not that many great options for Sabers, I suppose.
Yes. Another question I have here regarding to early like releases. What was your most unexpected that you didn't think was gonna come until like mid next year?
Oh yeah, we have got a lot of stuff early, huh? But what would be the most surprising one? I am honestly because I mean my favorite update was a while ago when they brought a ton of new quality of life, including the 60 FPS and the skill skip, etc.
Yeah.
But the most surprising one to me, because at that point I didn't expect us to get all this big quality of life stuff early, was when they dropped the coin update earlier this year,
Oh yeah,
a full year early basically. That was really crazy to me. Like servant coins that early.
it's true. I would say that my favorite or like least expected one would probably be the gotcha or the gotcha system. Yeah, woohoo! The pity system. Because I was like, do you think it has something to do with lasagna? Like they're just like we need to catch up, or do you think like just these like certain settings we can push out to NA right now?
Well, I think they have changed how they treat NA though, clearly, because this year particularly has been. I mean, we are no strangers to early stuff, but usually it's like here, have an early animation update, and maybe an early gotcha banner, and very rarely an early buff or something. But and that was cool and all, but now this year there's been so much stuff, like more significant stuff early on as well, and it also happens to be around the same time when they kind of got became Lasengle or lasagna, So I think there might be some connection there for sure. They might have changed how, or some of their management or whatever. But I think all the changes this year are definitely on the positive side.
Speaking on animation updates, I was hell bent. If you asked me like 2 months ago that like do you think we're gonna be getting Ushi's animation update early, I'd have just like I don't know, like destroyed you or something because I didn't really think we were gonna get it this early.
Yeah, that one in particular as well, because it was actually tied to the release of an event where she's a part of. Because she also has a raid up there.
Yeah,
We will still get the buff there. That didn't happen early, but it was also supposed to be the point where she gets the animation update. So again, that is one of the more surprising animation updates, I suppose, because it was tied to an event story she's in.
and ever since the event, I've been using her a lot more, and my God, I completely underestimated her. She's really good for just straight single target DPS.
Yeah, she's one of those good old reliables for
Gold
sure.
reliables. Makes me wish she was SSR. But then again, we have that. What? She's an Avenger, right?
Yeah, Taira is coming in early January. Who
That's another
people I
one I'm looking
suppose
forward
consider a
to.
five-star Oshi. Yeah.
That's another one I'm looking forward to. I'm just so excited for next year. I wonder what other stuff we're gonna be getting early. What would you bet on us getting early?
I think the one thing we could still get early that's pretty significant is the mass lottery box opening thingy, which allows you to open 100, boxes with one tap instead of 10. It makes it so much faster. So if it was early, it would have to be this Christmas lottery, because the next one would be the weird rerun of an Aerofest event, like between Last Belt 6 parts around summer next year. That's when it actually dropped on JP. So if we get it this Christmas, it would still be early, and I would very much like it because it makes life easier if you farm a lot.
It's true, yeah. Great. So,
I guess the wait, we're very early on that topic. I guess the other big thing that could happen early, that would be like still the one big thing missing, is the um, Grail casting system, because we already
oh,
got coins as well. Yeah.
I completely
It's
forgot
tied to
about that.
basically the completion of the Tunguska event epilogue, but I'm pretty sure it's never mentioned in the story or at all. It just happens to be the requirement for it. So in a way, they could bring it early because again, it has no story connection. It's never talked about in game. It's never like a story point. It's just a system in the menu basically.
Yeah,
So I still have hope that we could get it early because as is, it's around a year from now when Tunguska releases just before the end of the year next year. But it would be very great to have it early, especially as someone who's kind of a whale. I'd definitely be able to get those bonus grills every month as well, so it would add up quite fast.
it's true. Like when you said the grilling system, I was like, I completely forgot points like the coins even existed for a second because I don't really use
Yeah, for
them.
a lot of people, that's going to be like the best use for their coins. Instead of like unlocking random appends for servants, they might not even use that much or even going past level 100, which is it's a crazy cost, not just for coins, but everything else as well. So, you know, if you can trade a lot of coins for grails instead, I think that's what a lot of people will mostly do with their coins.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna definitely be using it for because I'm kind of low on grails. Speaking of speaking of mechanics, you've been around the FGO community for a very long time. I've said that like 5 times now, and it's it's true though. But I wanted to ask, what would be your like most annoying mechanic in Fate Grand Order?
Most annoying mechanic. Hmm.
Like when you're just like, I'm so over this.
That's a tough one. I think most of the stuff that used to be really tedious, I think has been kind of, fixed with some quality of life stuff. But if you were talking about like in terms of like gameplay mechanics, like battle stuff, then I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I have like mixed feelings about break bars. I think overall they make sense to exist because then you can't just stack on one server and just one shot with an MP and then you're done.
Yeah.
But sometimes, especially if they're like combined with like a special damage resistance buff on the enemies, like what I'm saying is like when there's a lot of different stuff that really limits the of how you can do a node, I think that's bad. Because I always like to think of ways to maybe get my favorites to work on the boss for like either a cool solo, a nice 3 turn, something cool. I like doing like, I like to think. I like to do some which how should I say it? Theory crafting. There you go.
Mm.
On cool ways of dealing with bosses. But if a boss is like, oh, he has 3 bars, they have special resistance on all 3 bars against MPs, and they're a certain class, and it's like at that point it really limits your options as to like what you can use, at least in a cool way. So
Yeah.
I do want them to make bosses challenging and give them stuff so that you can't just one shot easily, but at the same time I don't want there to be too much stuff to stack on top so it really limits the options of the player.
You know, I would have to agree with you on the break bars. Another big like niche of mine is the um stun and charm. It's like God. And it happens on like my servant who really doesn't need one. Like if I have an NP on Merlin and I'm about to use it, it just gets randomly stunned. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It just can't catch a break.
Yeah, speaking of which, that reminds me of a funny thing. Like, Shuten in particular, she has an AOE charm, and it actually does not. The success chance does not scale with level, which I think it should. But whatever, old game design. But regardless, it's a 60% chance to stun every target. Individually, they do like 60% calculations, and when you're using Shuten, it feels like you might land one of those. And then when you fight the enemy Shuten, you always get triple charmed every time.
Like you son of a
Every single time.
bitch.
That's what it feels like when it comes to RNG, like crowd control effects.
Yeah. I cannot stand the stun effect, especially if it's on on a enemy boss. It's the worst thing ever. Also, melodic. Why? Of all times, why now? This is a regular in my channel. He's kind of a goofball, but I love him. So,
Yeah, fair.
on the next question. You have been through the dark days of FGO. Yes?
Yeah.
Would you say we're in a golden age, or like are you like thinking that maybe there could be more?
I'm personally pretty satisfied with the state of the game, even for NA.
Hmm.
Especially after this year when we got all that big stuff early.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people really want NA to kick into like super high gear, maybe like reduce the duration of event SWAT and just run non-stop until we would slowly like catch up to JP. I don't really see that necessary myself. I'm okay with doing things slowly on a delay, basically, and we keeping the same rate of content, basically.
Yeah, I get you. For me personally, I think I said it. I'm like kind of like teased it before, but I like being an NA player because JP when they announce something, I'm like, oh shit, I can save for this or I can do that. I'm not just like holding on to my courts, waiting
Yeah, I
like,
think for at least for people that are free to play that can't really wail on banners, the clairvoyance is really really helpful because then they can plan. They have like a full. They can have up to a 2 year roadmap at any given point basically,
yeah.
and most of the time it's gonna be like 98% accurate. Sometimes early stuff happens, but most of the time we're gonna stick to very similar dates of stuff happening. So for non-spenders, it's definitely a very good thing.
I've seen does fiasco mailing mean 250? It can mean any number you'll want it to be. But I've seen recently that for events, they usually don't drop them early. But for like
Yeah,
banners and quality of life changes, it's usually like, oh hey, by the way, here's this in the next update.
yeah.
One banner that surprised me in particular last year was, excuse me, was the what's his name? Why am I drawing a blank right now? First Hassan, because that was an entire year early, right?
Mm. Yeah, I remember that particularly as well because I did not plan for him to drop that early because he was at the time still someone I wanted to MP5 and yeah, oh, it's great to get him early, but the problem was before that I had like more or less back-to-back MP5 SSR targets already in Rhinus and Jinako, so it was it was a month or two where I definitely spent a lot of money because I wasn't expecting him to drop a year early as well after those two, but I survived and yeah. Overall, I think it's pretty cool that we got that early, I suppose.
I
The more surprising thing is that they also brought the buff early to him,
oh yeah,
not just the banner. The buff was also early.
I'm probably gonna chill here for a couple minutes till I decide to sleep. Alright, melodic. I hope our rambling is enough to put you to memes. But I was gonna mention something about Orion. Oh, that month in particular was a very great month for me because I rolled NP5, um, first Hassan, and then I got my first uh, what's her name? The cat lady that has the tails. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Tamamo?
Tomamo, thank you. I rolled her. That was my first one. I was excited. I was playing The Witcher. I was making Alfredo. That was a great day. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, those are the memories that cling, yeah. It can be something mundane as long as it was like really good vibes, you're gonna remember it.
I also remember because that was like the same month when we got like 300 plus courts, and I was like, this is like the perfect timing.
Yeah, sometimes things just line up really well.
I know. Just for that, I'm gonna force myself to not go memes to your rambling. You're not gonna understand a goddamn thing, but I hope you're in for the long haul. So like when I mentioned that like I was making Alfredo, what's one thing that you were doing pretty like mundane and then like something happened where you're like now that mundane activity is forever solidified with said event?
Like in corresponding to FGO or what?
It could be FGO, like a certain video game.
Well, I'm a pretty scheduled guy, I suppose, like very punctual, so I usually work on a schedule, not just for my streams and whatnot, but everything.
Yeah.
I guess funnily enough, one of the things I tend to kick or cook rather this thing I refer to as the spicy pasta every week. It usually I call it a spicy pasta Monday, but this week, like last week, was an exception when I was streaming on Monday, so couldn't really do it. But I'm gonna do it today, I suppose. It's
Oh
one of those things that
shit.
I always just do.
The classic,
Especially now that it's starting to be very cold in here, I appreciate spicy food even more.
the good old pasta.
Yeah, it's
Of
a recipe I've been, doing and tuning over the years a lot, and I'm very happy where it's at.
hell
It's a
yeah.
very nice pasta.
That's what we like to hear. Whoops. Actually, nah. The good old Myst recipe. Off stream, I'm gonna ask you for the recipe. Anyways, um, what, when do you like? Okay, wait. Let me rephrase this question and get it together. If Figure Order Arcade was to come to the States, probably won't, but I have ambitions. Would you try to make like regular content on it, or would it just be like I'm not touching it because it's gonna be booked like crazy?
Well, I don't even live in the States, but
Oh, I'm sorry. Like
if there,
worldwide.
let's all right, let's like assume it would be on my country as well. Then
Yeah.
I don't know honestly. I don't know. It feels like a hassle honestly, and I don't think how would you even record that properly? I don't know really,
You just take your phone and
because it
just be
would be
like,
on arcade
hey.
machines. It would be kind of awkward, yeah. I'd probably make a video or two, and if I start playing it regularly, maybe I'll record like gotcha sessions or whatever. I probably wouldn't really make it like a main thing though,
Yeah.
even if I were to get into it, and if what was possible for me to get into it.
I would love to play FJ Arcade because don't they give you like the actual cards when you summon people?
Yeah, you have physical cards, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that is super cool. I would love to have like a two altar card or
Yeah, I
something
think some
crazy.
people like they're sold on eBay. I think some people just buy them just to have them as like collectibles as well,
Nice.
even if they don't ever, play the machines.
I would love to get one. Red concrete. So, when are you trying to think of a question here? Forgot to totally disregarded making like a set question thing, so I'm sorry, you have to bear with it. When do you think you'll ever be like a point where you'll get tired of FGO, if any?
Yeah, that's a question I get here and there as well from everyone basically. I don't think I'm gonna ever get tired of it. I mean, it helps that it's also my job, but there's a reason I've stuck with it all this. Like, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't force myself to, do it just because of content, because
Yeah,
I certainly do still love it. Fate as a franchise is still probably my favorite one overall, I would say.
of all time.
So I don't, yeah, the game a bit old at this point, like how it like works and behaves. It's definitely you can feel it's an old gacha game. Like if it was nowadays, it would probably look a little bit more like arcade if it was released now,
Yeah,
like more 3D stuff, etc. But I still love the game, and I don't really see myself stopping anytime soon.
that's great to hear because I would cry if you said you were done. But when like when you think about long-term FGO, like not like recently because we have like a ton of stuff, but when there was like a drought, would you be like, damn, like I'm struggling for content, or was it just like I got this, like I'm chilling?
Mm, I
What
mean,
was
that
this
kind of
for?
there's like droughts here and there, kind of all the time.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's ever really anything too bad. I guess next year is gonna be the like I mentioned earlier, the first half of the next year is gonna be a bit of a slower thing because not even many new server releases, etc. It was mostly because that's when COVID was really bad in Japan.
yeah.
But even then, I don't think it's gonna be all that bad.
All right. Do you have the stream open?
I think I do, yeah. It's on a tab, yeah.
Give me a scoring on this coup that I made.
Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, I see it now.
Was it not obvious?
Well, the weapon is definitely gay bulging. Did you make that like yourself completely?
I was
Not
doing
from
it on
like a
stream this
reference?
entire time. Well, I have a
I mean,
reference.
you didn't like copy anything.
Well, I have like a reference, but I didn't copy it. This is from my own brain.
Well, that's better than I would ever be able to do.
Let's
Let's just
go.
say that.
Hell yeah.
I can't, I'm not very creative at all in anything. Like, at least in terms of like art, stuff
Hmm.
like this.
The only creative game I can play and actually do well is Minecraft. Like if you get me on like Gmod or any other sandbox, I'm just lost. One in particular that I was recently playing was it wasn't really like a sandbox, but it was Project Zomboid. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
I was trying to get into it, but that game's it's kind of a lot that goes into it. I don't know if I'd ever
Yeah.
try it again. Probably would, but something tells me time is up. Hopefully I can catch your next stream. Do not forget to tuck me in. I got you. I'll be there in like, I don't know. Just give me a little bit. I'll be there. Tuck you in. So, regarding so let's move on from the Fate Grand Order part and move on to the Fate part. Strange Fake. Are you looking forward to it?
I assume you mean the OVA releasing on New Year's.
I thought it was an anime.
Well, they've only confirmed it to be a one episode special. Remember last year we got like the Case Files OVA as well for New
Oh
Year's.
yeah, that's true.
Although that had a series before that as well. So yeah, it's only been confirmed for like one special episode. I'm guessing it's gonna be like an hour long or something. Yeah, I'm definitely still excited for it. I still think they will have an anime next year at some point, but who knows when, honestly. But you know, I'm still excited for the special too.
You think it'll be like a test run?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
I'm looking forward to it because I'm a big Gilgamesh simp, and seeing Gilgamesh as like kind of like a good guy is gonna be freaking awesome. But I heard they nerfed him. Like I haven't read the anime or anything. I've just read like the tidbits here and there, but I heard they kind of nerfed him a lot.
Yeah,
They do
I
that a
suppose.
lot. Fortunately, my poor boy Gil. What else is there fake coming up? Any new like shows or anything you've been up to, like anime wise?
Well, I wasn't a big anime like Burnout for that lasted for I think over 2 years. I was very much a kind of a fairly sizable seasonal watcher before that for many years.
Hmm.
And then I kind of just stopped watching seasonals, and I very rarely watch anything old either. But nowadays, I'm kind of back on the grind again. I'm watching a few seasonals and some old stuff as well. Like, more or less, I watch an episode or two every day of something.
I wish I was you. I can't watch anime for the life of me anymore. It's like I try to sit down. The one I'm watching right now is called Call of the Night, and I cannot just watch an entire episode. I get bored, or I'm like I want to do something else. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
What
I
about
try to always like nowadays just because I'm gonna be very picky because I don't want to go back into a burnout because if there's like a gonna I'm gonna try a show that I don't really necessarily gonna enjoy I have a feeling I might lead to another burnout, so
yeah?
I'm gonna usually just pick stuff that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy so that I can keep going and not burn out.
Have you watching a lot of? Have you watched Chainsaw Man at all?
What now?
It's Chainsaw Man.
Oh yeah, I'm watching Chainsaw Man. Yeah,
Are
that's
you
one of the shows I'm watching this season.
are you liking it?
Well, I think it's good, but I do think it's a bit overrated. But I do
Oh,
enjoy it. I think it was way too overhyped by the manga readers.
true. And
I'm
it's
sure it's gonna get better as time goes on,
as
but
a
yes.
as a manga reader for the Chainsaw Man, I can say the first season is gonna handicap Chainsaw Man a lot. It does get better, but right now it's just kind of whack. What about Kobani? Are
I
you
mean,
into
that's usually what
Kobani?
happens because they, what now?
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, the girl,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kobani, yeah. Well, I haven't really seen too much of her yet in the anime, but she seems like an interesting case, I suppose.
I'm into my shy girls, so I like her. I kind of. Did you hear it? I don't want to like. Not really. No, I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to spoil it. I will save your ears. But so, what other like old animes have you been watching? I've been wanting to watch Cowboy Bebop for a while now, but it's only on Netflix. And I don't have a Netflix.
Hmm. I mean, that's a classic for sure. I watched it like many years ago.
I haven't even watched an episode.
Well, it's not like it's a long one, so when
It's
you
true.
find the motivation, you can just check it out.
Trying to. It sucks. It's only on Netflix. I hate exclusivity, but I understand it.
Yeah.
Talking about exclusivity, that links us back to Fake Order. Do you ever think that there would be an exclusivity, like a video game?
Like for like a certain platform or something.
Yeah, this servant is JP exclusive. Like it's not coming to NA.
Oh, you mean like server specific? Okay.
Yeah,
Mm, I don't think so, no.
hope not. That would destroy dreams.
I mean, every server has like their like small exclusive stuff. Like NA has the Thanksgiving, and I think China has Chinese New Year stuff. KR probably has something too. I mean, they're getting Muramasa this month already for their
Damn.
anniversary instead of New Year's. But yeah, besides like exclusive stuff like that, I don't think there's gonna be anything that's truly like fully exclusive. Like maybe you get a bonus rate up for a servant, yeah, sure, but not like something like, oh, this servant is only ever available on JP and it will never come to the NA server or the Chinese or the KR server.
Wasn't there one server that had to get shut down because nobody was playing it, or wasn't it like one of the trees like a raid event? They didn't complete it.
I think KR they had to manually do it at some point because the players weren't fast enough or whatever. But I think that it seems like the server is right now doing fairly okay.
It was truly their own lost belt.
I think
Let's
it
do
was
it.
there when they hit Solomon basically with the raids.
Yeah,
Back then the game was I guess pretty small there.
I love me some FGO. This is the only like good gotcha game that I get into. I know you play. Do you still play a lot of Genshin?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I couldn't really get in. I couldn't really get into Genshin. I understand it, but it's like, I don't know why. What makes you
I think it's
enjoy
a
it so
pretty
much?
okay game. I don't know actually. I think it's a pretty polished game at least, and the fact that like every week there's something new to do, which is cool. There's never really like a lot of downtime, and I mostly actually stream the game. I do play it every day, but if I'm not streaming, I mostly just do daily stuff basically.
Mhm.
But I like doing like new stuff on stream as well, which helps, I suppose.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting.
And I like building new characters a lot when they happen, and they do happen a lot. So there's a lot of new characters like every month.
Are you excited for the upcoming anime?
Yeah, I will watch it. Yeah, and especially because it's by Ufotable. So yeah, I'm hopeful that it's gonna be pretty cool.
Me too. If anything, I'd probably give the anime a shot, and then like Cyberpunk, I'd be like, maybe this game isn't bad after all.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna get more people into the game as well.
There's a lot of like really good adaptations recently. Like I know like video games have historically been known to either get screwed up, they don't never understand it, but recently there've been a lot of very good adaptations with the likes of Arcane and League of Legends, League of Legends, Arcane, and what's another good one I was thinking about? Oh, Cyberpunk. So
Yeah, I've heard good things about that. Yeah.
I'm very hopeful for the anime. I was never really big on Arcane. Were you ever big into like
It's
card game,
Oh
like
yeah,
card?
real brief regarding that topic as well. The game adaptations. I'm kind of hyped because next season, on the winter season, starting in January, they're gonna start the anime for the game Near Automata. I played the game myself, so I'm kind of hopeful the anime will be good as well.
I think I remember hearing something about that. I was pretty pumped for it. I've never played near myself.
I've only played Automata, but yeah, it was a cool game. The story is pretty tight, and the music is like amazing. So at least that is hopefully gonna be there in the anime as well.
Do you listen to a lot of video game OSTs?
Yeah, here and there for sure. I listen to a lot of music, but maybe not like OST primarily. Usually other stuff, but I do enjoy a soundtrack here and there as well.
It reminds me of a meme where it was like, bro, you played anime OSTs around the hose. Sorry.
Yeah,
But honestly, I would never really like actively go listen to an OST. The only time I ever did it was with the new God of War game, which I freaking love. And I myself am a big God of War fan. I've been since like as far as I can remember. So listening to that is like music ecstasy. Oh, yeah, that's better. What about you, Miss? Are there any like OSTs from video game other than like obviously Near, where you're just like, goodness me, like I could listen to this for hours.
yeah, there's a lot of good ones. Let's see. I actually have some playlists so I can briefly check to refresh my memory. Let's see here. Sometimes I just like to listen to OST from games from my childhood because of the nostalgia factor. Not necessarily because they're like amazing, but they give me like a certain mood.
Yeah,
And I was like a little kid playing a PlayStation or something.
there's this game. It's a very unknown, very not popular PlayStation 3 game called not Uncharted, Legendary, and the main menu is it's so good. Every time I listen to it, I get thrown back to 2009. Oh my goodness, I love it.
Hmm.
Let's
I
go.
think one game's OST that I really like is he's also one of my favorite composers, Danny B. Basically, the Necrodancer OST, the Crypt of the Necrodancer game. It's like an indie game,
Hmm.
but the OST is like fire. And he also made the soundtracks for like Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy, which are also really, really great stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm actually a big fan of Isaac. I play it a lot. I don't really
I actually
stream it.
never got the new game. I remember when I was in vocational school, when I was still a lot younger, when we had the original Isaac, I actually fully 100%ed it, but I never got the new game. I don't know, I just kind of fell off.
Have you been wanting it?
Not really. I think I've already kind of missed the train. I'm sure the game is gonna keep going, still, and it's gonna do fine, but I don't know. I feel like at this point, I'm probably just gonna play other stuff.
For me, it was the first game that got me into roguelikes, so I have a big appreciation for Isaac. Plus, I
Yeah,
love,
it probably is for a lot of people. Yeah, it's one of the, most famous ones.
oh yeah, and I love the like, oh, let me just like throw a bunch like 20 items and see what I can come up with. It's like it's literally just a new run every time, obviously.
Yeah, it's like the roguelikes have like insane replay value.
Yeah, it's like they meant it to be like that or something.
And speaking of roguelikes and the OST thing, well, FTL is a great roguelike first of all, but it has a banging soundtrack as well.
FTL?
If you've played that game.
Faster Than Light, right?
FTL, faster than light, yeah.
That's a game I haven't heard for years. There was one
Oh, if you
streamer.
like roguelites, you have to play it. It's
Oh,
like one of the goats. It's amazing.
I have to check it out. There's one YouTuber who played it a lot. He named a ship after me, which like 14-year-old fiasco was crazy. But
Yeah, you can name your crewmates as well, which is
hell
cool.
yeah, I might do that now. Oh, I love naming things so much.
Yeah, it's like such a small feature, but it really like immerses you more.
What is like the premise of it? I thought you were just making a ship.
Well, you don't make a ship. You basically choose. It's like with the roguelike. It's like choosing your character basically. Every ship has like their base weapons, passives, and crew, and then you just go from there. And then you go through like sectors, which are like floors in roguelikes. You go through node to node until you hit the end of the sector, and then you move on to the next one if you're still alive, obviously.
Oh, interesting.
The combat itself is real time, but you can play it like turn-based as well because there's a pause button that completely freezes it. So you can spam this shit out if you want. So you can always take like if you want to think like, oh no, there's a fire in this room and there's an enemy invading in this room, and then we need to target their weapon system with our cannons and shit. You can all do that. Like, and you can spend like 5 minutes if you want. There is no rush. If you really want to, you could play it fully, real time as well. But if you play, yeah, that's usually gonna end pretty badly. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's a very engaging game for
I'll,
sure.
I'll definitely have to check it out. I'll put it on my Steam wish list.
It's
Are
probably
there?
gonna be pretty cheap on the Christmas sale at least.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's definitely can't. Steam sales kind of go bonkers because I was primarily a console guy, so we wouldn't really get like
Oh
sales
yeah, I
like
can
crazy.
imagine the
Oh
when you
yeah,
get a taste of those Steam sales afterwards. Yeah,
they're spicy.
I
Like
usually don't. I every sale like big sale, I usually buy like a few things nowadays for sure. But when I was a lot younger and my account didn't have much, I bought like 20 things on the big sales. I used to go ham.
for me, I get super lucky sometimes, and I buy like entire like what would you call series for like not even $10. Like for Yakuza, I
Yeah, like a
got
collection of a series or something.
yeah, I got the entire collection of Yakuza for like less than $20. It was a
Wow,
steal.
that sounds like a bargain.
I know.
Wow.
And then I
I would
got
say even Yakuza 0 alone is worth 20 bucks.
Yakuza Zero so far because I'm on the third one right now, which
Mm.
I could go on about, but Yakuza Zero so far to me has been my personal favorite. It's probably not an original choice, but that game slapped.
Yeah.
Especially the karaoke. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a reason it became a meme as well.
Yeah. So are there any games you're looking forward to?
Games I'm looking forward to. Usually not that much, honestly. I'm not sure if it's coming next year, I forgot, but you might not even know about the original game, but the sequel to Alan Wake is coming out.
Oh yeah,
I
I know
really
about that
love
game.
Alan Wake because I'm a huge fan of Remedy, the developer.
Yeah.
One big thing is because they're actually a Finnish developer. I think they're like the one of the only AAA developers we have in Finland, and they're mostly known for like the Max Payne games and yeah, then Alan Wake, I suppose. They also made Quantum Break and Control. I think is their latest game, if you've heard of that.
Think
But
that one
yeah,
sounds familiar.
Alan Wake came out in like I don't know 2008 or 9 or something for the Xbox like exclusively, and then later got a PC port is when I played it, and now they have finally announced a sequel. I think it might come out next year because it was announced this year. So that's one game I'm very much looking forward to.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for you, and are you gonna stream it?
Probably not, but we'll see. You never know.
Oh,
It's a very heavy like story-based game, so usually those are not like the best things to stream, but you never know.
Has there been anything that you've been wanting to stream? I know you're primarily a FGO YouTuber. I'm sorry I'm rambling a bit, but I don't want like the reason why I don't want it to be mainly about FGO, you know? I like to just talk and chill.
Yeah, yeah. I do stream like other games every week as well. I have usually like 1 or 2 days dedicated to FGO of my 5 days of streaming, but then we just have other stuff as well. A game I've wanted to stream. That's a good question actually. Usually, I mean, games that I stream are just the ones that I've already kind of wanted to, even though usually they tend to be like viewer picks, but I like most of this stuff as well.
You like to let your
Uh,
viewers pick a lot of your games?
yeah. That's usually how the playthroughs start to begin with.
Oh.
I don't know, like, I don't know actually. I think I'm pretty okay with, the stuff I'm streaming currently.
Cool. What is like a really requested game that you have been like constantly asked for, but you were just like, I don't know if I'd like it, if any.
Well, one thing people were asking about, or like two things that are kind of related to each other, and I'm not sure if I'm going to stream them. I do want to play them though. They're the remake of Tsukihime and Maho Tsuka no Yoru, on which is releasing December, I believe. So yeah, I still don't know if I'm gonna stream them at any point, but I would like to play them at least because they're Nasu stories, obviously.
Cool. Wasn't that I could have sworn there was another game? Are you big into Resident Evil?
Well, I was introduced to the franchise via my streams because a lot of those games were picked. I've only like finished one game so far, but I've tried many of them.
Yeah. I
I'm pretty bad when it comes to horror games, so maybe not the most enjoyable playthroughs for me, but I do think the games are kind of cool though. I think they're pretty tight. They work, but sometimes it's a bit hard for me to play because I get scared really, really easily.
oh yeah, I bet. I myself, I'm a big fan of horror games, not because I'm like a horror fanatic. I actually can't stand it, but I just love the fact of me walking around aimlessly, acting like nothing scares me. I find that to be incredibly fun. Also speedrunning. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a subculture of human or gamer, but speedrunning horror games to me is so much fun. For example, Alien Isolation. I could
Okay, I still haven't even completed that one yet. I'm pretty
oh,
close to the end, I think, but man, it's hard for me to play it.
I understand. I love that game because of the speedrunning community. I just like trolling the stupid alien. It's great. I have no clue what I'm doing.
I've kind of always been interested about speedrunning something myself. I look a lot of videos about it and whatnot, but I've never really tried anything myself. But maybe someday I'll try
Have you
for like a
like
game that I really much love or something.
have there been any like big ones where you're like one day I'm definitely streaming this?
I don't think like a particular game or anything, but maybe something for again one of those good memories from my childhood or something. Maybe a game that's not like super long, because I know some people do like insanely long speed runs as well for like maybe JRPGs or something that can take like half a day or something, even on speed running.
There was
So
one.
I would maybe like to stream something that maybe you can play in an hour or two with a reasonable time.
I don't know if you ever heard of these, but it's Minecraft and it's like a speedrun,
Oh,
but
I
they're
know about the
taking
Minecraft
yeah.
speedruns. Yeah,
Have
there's
you
a lot of different categories.
have you seen the one where people take forever to complete the game?
I don't. I'm not sure if I know any of the like really long ones though.
It's like they're speedrunning Minecraft, but they're taking their sweet ass time. Like I think the world record is like 40 hours because they're just like
Oh, there must be like a lot of handicaps or something then.
Yeah, it's like it's great though because of the Minecraft. I'm sure you know about the Minecraft resurgence that had happened.
Yeah, I lived through it. When I
Yeah,
got introduced to my Minecraft, I was in vocational school when I was like 15 years old, and one of my friends was playing the alpha version of the game, which was the latest one. I was like,
hell
"What the
yeah,
hell is this? I've never heard of this." He's like, "Oh, it's Minecraft." I'm like, "Cool." And then
hell
when
yeah.
it was later in beta, I actually bought the game. Didn't really play it much because I'm not really into it. Also, believe it or not, this is gonna sound funny. Minecraft scares me. I consider it a horror game. It's very difficult for me to play it. I always get shit in my pants. I don't know why, what it is about it. So yeah, you could if that alone doesn't convince you that I get scared easily, then nothing will.
You must hate Gmod then.
Yeah, I suppose.
Even like I'm
I
not
mean,
a
I played through Half-Life and whatnot as well, which is what the assets are usually mostly from in Gmod as well. So some of the parts were kind of tough, but love the game regardless.
for me. I'm not like it's not like for me. It's like a scary thing, but the one thing that really is it's just eerie because you're just alone. It's like the lonely God feeling because I can do all this stuff, but I'm
Yeah,
just like there by myself.
yeah, that's definitely a factor.
Same thing. I don't really get that in Minecraft though. Probably because it's a bunch of snowmen around. It's jerks. Man, getting scared of Minecraft. I'm not gonna roast you, but wow.
I mean, I would not blame you. I know most people always laugh when I say that, and that's fair. That's fair.
I understand it. Yeah, I'm not a one to like be like mean. I do like to pick, but you're my guest. I have to be nice. Would you like some water?
No thanks.
Okay, sure. So,
We just as a heads up, we might have to wrap up soon-ish. So if you have like some big questions you wanna get, you might wanna prio some of those,
okay,
because I have to walk my dog soon.
let me look through my papers here. Just what is one NPC servant that has yet been added that you want added?
That's a classic one as well. Well, Kira is probably my number one, but I assume he would happen sometime with Last Belt 7 released, so I'm not too worried about that one. I think he will happen at some point. Besides that, hmm, of the non-playables. I mean, it's probably not gonna happen, but it would be kind of cool to see like a playable Siduri from Babylonia, because she's kind of hot. Not gonna lie.
My
So I would not
man.
mind that either.
Hell yeah, we got our priorities straight. My friend always like he
Hmm.
yells at me. I've told him before, but he was like, "Oh, you only roll for gameplay. You're not rolling for people you like." Like, yeah, whatever, punk. Um, another. This is. I have like two more questions, really big, hard hitters. What is, in your opinion, the best chapter in the original? So not Lost Belt, original run of Fate.
I assume this does not count Epic of Remnants as well,
Ah,
because yeah, it's just part one. For part one is always between Camelot and Babylonia for me. It probably it changes all the time. So depending on when you're asking me, it might be Babylonia. Depending on other times, maybe Camelot.
yeah.
I think both are definitely very solid chapters, though. I think most of the time I would say Babylonia, but yeah, both are. I really enjoyed both, regardless. I think it's the same for most people, that the latter singularities in part one are the highlights. I don't really, I honestly didn't even like the first like four or so. They were kind of, meh.
Hmm.
It definitely got better later.
Okay. For the final question, what is subjectively the best event in the entire game?
Hmm. Events. I personally like a lot of the collab ones, honestly, especially because they also have like music from the actual other thing that they're collabing with, the story. I always found that to be very cool. But what would be my favorite event? This is something I probably should have an answer for because it's a common question, I suppose, but I never really do have a good answer for it. I really should like someday just sit down and go through like all the list of the events, like, oh, that was an amazing one.
The most big thing.
Let's see. I mean, yeah, of the collab ones, I really like the Case Files one, obviously, because it introduced Luvi and Ryan as two of my waifus.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the music is also great. You know, we get to bully Barbatus as well as a bonus, you know.
Yep.
And what else? I mean, I like the vibe of a lot of lottery events as well, because it's just fun. You can get to play the game for like hours and hours if you want to farm a lot. It's just a great time. I even like streaming it, because you know everyone's gonna be doing the same thing. It's just nice to hang out, farm
Yeah.
together. Those are always a good vibe. So I'm very hyped for the Christmas one later this year for NA as well.
I'm
I'm gonna be
excited.
streaming the crap out of it.
I'll definitely be there.
Do you have like a favorite event that really stands above some of the
Oh,
other ones?
definitely. Oh, definitely. I think for me it would be Gilfest because I'm a big Gil nerd. I'm a shill.
Ah, yes.
But on
It's great because not only is it a lottery event, but also it has those exhibition quests for added fun
oh
to
yeah,
do something between farming.
yeah. So it's
So arguably they're even better than the Christmas ones because those don't have exhibition quests. They have like one challenge quest at the end and that's it. So they're just mostly farming.
yeah, and it was the first event that I played through, and I was like, man, this game's easy, but those exhibition quests gave me a new, like, you know what I'm saying? They're not
Yeah,
beginner
if
friendly.
that's your first time, then it's kind of rough because arguably some of the exhibition quests are the hardest the game has ever been. So
Definitely. Well, all right then, Mist. That was all I've had. And with
yeah,
that,
hopefully you didn't have too many more questions left unanswered. But you
oh
know,
no,
who knows? We might do this again next year,
we'll see. Hopefully sooner than that, if time allows it. But yes,
like an annual thing.
yeah, that'd be dope. But yes, thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. I will see you guys later.